Welcome back to Wellness Mysteries, a feeling good, feels good production. I'm your host, Dr. Tripp. This is the podcast where we make feeling good feel simple, and we deliver it in a fun, interactive way. Each episode is a story about a fictional patient, and every detail is a clue. And we welcome you to play along and listen to the story and figure out the solution before the reveal. After the reveal, we're going to break it all down, what each clue meant, why we included it, and how you can take this information and put it into action right away so that you can start feeling good today. The patients in this show are fictional characters inspired by real clinical experience and current research. Nothing you hear is medical advice or a diagnosis. If something resonates today, please take it to a qualified provider who can actually examine you. Okay, today was another day at the office. I had a new patient scheduled at 12 o'clock. One of my favorite things. Another wellness mystery and an opportunity to help somebody feel good. We get new patients almost every day, but I had a feeling that this was going to be one with a story worth sharing. I looked at the new patient's name, Benjamin Vincent. Then I saw his email, Benny the Welder at bennyswelding.com, and I was already picking up on some clues that this was going to be a fun mystery. 12 o'clock came, and Benny came in, slowly, with his head down and his body slumped. He looked, well, frankly, sad. I gave him a friendly, but not overly enthusiastic hello to make him feel welcomed, but not like he had to match any high energy. Benny seemed relieved to be coming in. He sat down and let out a relieving sigh. He was clearly tired. I gave him a little time to get himself situated before we jumped in. He mentioned that what finally brought him in was the persistent tingling in his hands and his feet. He felt like he had sparklers going off in his hands and feet nearly every day now. Some days worse than others. Not like pain from burning, but like the sizzling, tingling feeling that reminded him of sparklers. One of the most common questions you will hear a doctor say is what makes it better and what makes it worse. He looked up at me with concern on his face. I knew that the next comment was either going to be one that he had been holding in for a while or that he was worried about. Maybe both. Most of the time, the things that people are worried about are really just more clues. And this instance was no different. He mentioned that his tingling got worse whenever he drank alcohol. He said he was worried that he had liver disease and that the tingling was his body's way of telling him. I said, okay, have you been to your primary care doctor about this? He said he had been to every single specialist, liver doctor, nerve doctor, and primary care doctor. They all told him his liver was fine. His numbers were fine. That's good news, I said. But Benny continued to worry. Then why am I having this tingling in my hands? It's worse whenever I have a drink. I paused for a second. I could see that he was really going through it. So I asked him why this particular symptom was so concerning for him, because I could already pick up that there might be other symptoms going on too. So I wanted to dig into why this one was the motivator. He said his father and grandfather passed away from liver disease. Okay, I get it now. Here is a man who is not only worried about his own life, but his symptoms probably remind him of the loss of two people that he cared about very deeply. I understand, I told him. I asked him how he felt when he saw that his liver markers were fine and his doctor told him that his liver was fine. He said he felt relief. Okay, I said, let's think about that for a second, and then let's talk about what else might be going on. It might help me understand more of why you're having this tingling in your hands. He was a little slow to move on, but I asked, okay, if we found another reason for the tingling, would that help you feel better? He said yes, and honestly, my goal was not just to find another reason for it. I wanted to help him not have those symptoms at all. So I asked him, tell me about your day-to-day life. I'm tired. That was the first thing that he said. He said, I sleep all night and I wake up exhausted. Not only exhausted, but like my mind isn't right. I'm sad. I'm worried. I just don't feel like myself. I love my job, or at least I think I do. These days I can't even tell anymore. I'm a welder and I love working with metal. It's one of my favorite things to do. I feel so lucky that it's my job. Or at least I used to. Now I feel like I'm dragging my legs and my feet through each project. This all started before the tingling. I was just feeling tired, and feeling tired all the time was affecting my work. Now I was sad about my work not being good, and my work is one of those things that genuinely fulfills me, and when that is off, and all this health stuff, I would say I'm even downright depressed at this point. Before moving on, I really wanted to applaud him on his own self-awareness. To be able to articulate what he was going through, how it was impacting him, and how it was making him feel is not something that most people can do so quickly and directly. He could. I knew that he likely was really not feeling like himself. I assured him his ability to understand his own body would help him in this process. He perked up a little bit. His posture got a little straighter, and his eyes eyes opened a little wider. "Okay, Benny, tell me about your diet. What type of food are you eating?" He said proudly that he was a strict vegan. Due to his family's health history and his love for animals, he had been on a strict vegan diet for 12 years. Okay, what about supplements or medication? He said that he had standard multivitamin he took every day, and he was on metformin for type 2 diabetes. His body started to droop again. I could tell that he was not happy about having to take metformin, and his posture was also not great. I started to notice particularly his neck. His head drooped way forward. Because his symptoms were in his hands and his feet, I was not necessarily looking for physical injury as much for Benny. Because it was hands and feet, I was looking more for systemic issues, but I could not ignore the pressure on his neck that could at least be contributing to this condition. I asked him how long he had been experiencing tingling. He said he remembered exactly. It was a month and a half ago. He was at his 12-year-old niece's school play. She was playing the scientist, Dorothy Hodgkin. He remembered the play started at 12 because he had forgotten to eat lunch and he was hungry. They were awarding Dorothy the Nobel Prize for her discoveries, and all of a sudden he started to feel sparklers in his hands and his feet. It was a bittersweet moment. He was very proud of his niece, but also very concerned about what he was feeling. "It's good, it's only been a little over a month," I told him. He said, "Why is that? Do you think you can actually help me?" I said, "We can absolutely help you feel better. To get rid of your numbness and tingling, you're going to need to be consistent with a couple of things, and it might take a little longer than some other issues." He looked up with hope and a smile. "If there's a way to do it, I'll do it." I believed him. He went strict vegan. He had multiple specialists look at him in just the month and a half since his first flare-up. He articulated his story perfectly. I knew that Benny would do what it takes. So let's talk about what I was seeing. The tingling in the hands and the feet. The fatigue that sleep could not fix. The brain fog. The depression that crept in slowly and quietly. The heavy feeling in his legs. The sadness about a job he used to love. Every one of those symptoms belongs to the same picture. And the clues were there from the moment I looked at the intake form. His name, Benjamin Vincent. His initials, BV. Keep that in mind. His job, a welder, a man who works with metal every single day, shaping it, joining it, understanding it at a level most people never think about. Metal is his life. His diet, a strict vegan for 12 years, a choice he made with conviction for his health and for the animals he cares about. 12 years of removing every animal product from his plate. His medication, metformin for type 2 diabetes, one of the most prescribed medications in America. What most people and many doctors do routinely is discuss that metformin interferes with the body's ability to absorb a specific nutrient in the gut. He had two forces working against him simultaneously, and nobody connected them. His mood, the depression, the anxiety, feeling of not being himself. These are not just emotional symptoms, they're neurological ones. The nervous system running without what it needs to produce the chemistry of feeling well. His niece's play, Dorothy Hodgkin, a 12-year-old, playing the scientist who won the Nobel Prize for mapping the most complex molecule in the history of nutrition. A molecule so intricate it required 10 million calculations to decode. A molecule with a rare blue metal at its very center. And the number. His appointment, 12 o'clock. He had been vegan 12 years. His niece, 12 years old. His play started at 12. He remembered the exact time because he had forgotten to eat lunch. He was hungry. 12, 12, 12. Did you catch it? BV. B vitamins, B12. The rare blue metal at the center of the most complex vitamin ever discovered is called cobalt. The vitamin is called cobalamin. We know it as vitamin B12. Benny works with metal for a living and could not have known that the one metal his nervous system needed had been quietly running out for years. His vegan diet contains virtually no B12 because B12 does not exist in the plant kingdom. Only bacteria make it. Only animals carry it. 12 years without a reliable source and metformin reducing what little he was absorbing from his multivitamin. His nervous system sending sparklers through his hands and his feet. The same sparklers that lit up the exact moment 12-year-old girl walked across the stage dressed as the woman who spent her life trying to understand the molecule he was missing. That's Benny's mystery, and the clues were with him for quite some time. Now here is something worth knowing before we talk about what to do. Every time Benny had a drink, his body sent sparklers through his hands and his feet. He spent a month and a half convinced that it was a sign of something wrong with his liver, carrying the weight of his father and his grandfather every time it happened. Alcohol does impair the absorption of B vitamins, including B12, and is directly toxic to the nerves that are already compromised. His depleted nervous system more vulnerable to alcohol's effects than a healthy one would be. His body was sending him the same message every time he had a drink, but not for the reason he worried most about. Now here is one more thing I want to mention before we talk about how to treat Benny, because there are two separate populations who end up with low B12, and they arrive there from different roads. There's the first group, and Benny is in this group. They simply cannot get enough from their diet or cannot absorb what they are getting. The second group has a genetic variant called MTHFR that affects how the body activates B12 even when the levels appear adequate on your blood test. Same symptoms, different route. So if you recognize yourself in Benny's story and you follow the steps and you're still not getting better, that's when you may want to have the conversation about genetic testing, because the MTHFR variant is very common. Some reports say that it's up to 40% of the population who may have this variant. Now let's talk about how we are going to actually help Benny. So the form of B12 matters more than most people realize. We are not using cyanocobalamin, the synthetic form in most cheap supplements and standard multivitamins. We are using methylcobalamin, the active form the body can use directly, and taking it sublingually, meaning under the tongue. What this does is it bypasses the gut entirely. No stomach acid required, no intrinsic factor required, straight into the circulation. For someone whose metformin has been interacting with the gut absorption for years, this approach makes the most sense. And B12 is not a 1 week fix. Around our nerves, we actually have a sheet. It's like a protective sheet. It's called myelin, and B12 helps build and maintain these sheets. And building that does not happen overnight. Benny's tingling took months to develop. It will take weeks to months to also fully resolve. Consistency matters more than quantity right here. Every single day, under the tongue, cannot be skipped. Alongside the B12, we're going to work on Benny's neck. The forward head posture I noticed when he came in was probably adding pressure to the nerve roots in his cervical spine. These nerve roots are the ones that travel to his hands, the same hands that were tingling. Laser therapy is a great option for treating these peripheral neuropathies. We also talked about high processed food and high glycemic foods, which worsen the inflammatory environment and slows nerves recovery, and why a strict vegan diet that relied heavily on refined carbs was not the same thing as a nutrient-dense vegan diet. 3 months later, Benny came back in. He walked in the way he used to weld. Strong, purposefully, with something to do and energy to do it. The tingling was pretty much gone. It showed up once in a while, but it did not affect him or make him depressed in the way that it used to. Also, his fatigue had lifted. He said he felt like himself again for the first time and longer than he could remember. He was still vegan, he was still a welder, he still was very proud of both and enjoyed them very much. He just knew what his body needed now. Another one of the key signs for Benny was the feeling of dragging his legs. Weakness and heaviness in the legs was another key indicator that B12 deficiency was likely contributing to his symptoms. With the tingliness presenting in both hands and both feet, not just one, and not just one side, that always leads me to think about systemic issues rather than local physical issues like a pinched nerve. And systemic does not always mean dangerous. It's just something in your system that is off. His depression and his fatigue were also key indicators, but these alone cannot indicate a B12 deficiency. They are so common with so many deficiencies. But combining that with his weak legs, his dragging feet, feeling brain fog and tired even though he was sleeping a lot, then the last two pieces that really made this a clear fit for Benny were the 12 years of veganism and the many years of metformin, as well as the worsening of his symptoms with alcohol. 3 things that are common in people with low levels of B12. So I hope you had fun listening to Benny's story and that it can help you or somebody that you care about. If you like these mysteries, please share them with your friends and family. Please comment, like, and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And reach out to me at Philly Cairo on Instagram. I love talking to my listeners and my followers about what you heard, found interesting, and want to hear more of. I can't wait to see you all next time on the next Wellness Mystery.
Welcome to a state of feeling good. It's how we live and how you could. Just know it's how we're all meant to be. If things are off, listen to your body. It can tell us exactly what we need. Physical, emotional, nutritional, or mentally. No need to worry, it's reached accessibly. No matter how you felt or what you've heard, well-being's for everyone, it's what you deserve. Ease and joy are yours once it's understood. No need to fear, because feeling good feels good.